Welcome to Part 2 of the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power Solar Incentive Application Tutorial. There are two main forms that applicants must complete during the incentive application process: the reservation request and the incentive payment claim request. Applicants get the incentive process started by filling out and submitting a reservation request, so let's begin by walking through that task. To create a new incentive reservation request, click the New Incentive Application button at the upper left corner of the application list. Next, select the incentive program that you want to create an application for. In this case, since the only active program available is LADWP's Solar Incentive Program, we'll click the link for that program. Once you've selected the program, you'll be taken to the Seller Installer page. This page is the first step of the reservation request task. Other steps appear in the taskbar at the top of the page. The page that you're currently viewing is indicated by a small pencil in a blue circle. Steps that have not been completed have a lighter appearance, while those that are completed or don't require additional information are darker. For LADWP, there are 8 steps to complete the reservation request task. Although we recommend that you complete the steps in order, you can easily move between steps by clicking on the taskbar. When you do this, PowerClerk automatically saves information from the page you were just on. It's not necessary to complete applications in a single session either. Once you've created an application, you can always sign out of PowerClerk and come back to edit the application later. On the Seller Installer page, use the drop-down menus to select the applicant contact and the seller and installer companies and contacts. If a company you're working with does not appear in the list, they need to request that LADWP add them to its company database. For more information, visit the LADWP Solar Incentive Program website. When you've finished selecting the applicant, seller, and installer information, click the Next button at the bottom of the page to save your changes and go to the next step in the reservation request process. Note that LADWP administrators will be able to view the information that you enter prior to the application being submitted. The Host Customer page is used to collect information about the electric ratepayer. Depending on the tax status you select, additional information may be required. For this example, the ratepayer is a corporation, so you'll be prompted to enter company and contact information. Next, enter the host customer's mailing address. Note that as you type the city name, a list of matching cities in the selected state will appear. When you select a city from the list, the county will be automatically filled in and a list of applicable zip codes will be available. Fill in the customer's phone number and select a phone type. If you need to enter multiple phone numbers, just click the Add Phone Number button. Enter the additional number and select the phone type again, then click the Add Phone Number button again. Finally, enter the customer's email address. If the host customer is the applicant, you can save time by clicking the Pre-fill with Applicant link near the top of the page. This will replace all of the existing host customer information with the information LADWP has on file for the applicant. When you're done editing the host customer information, click the Next button at the bottom of the page to save your changes and move to the System Owner page. The System Owner page is used to collect information about the party that will own the solar electric system. The type of information collected here is the same as that collected on the host customer page. If the system owner is the applicant or the seller, you can click the Pre-fill with Applicant or Pre-fill with Seller link to automatically fill in the form with the information LADWP has on file. If the host customer is the system owner, you can select Host Customer from the System Owner Is drop-down menu. This will automatically fill in the system owner form and link the system owner and host customer information so that any future changes will be reflected on both pages, saving time and reducing the potential for error. On the project site page, you'll provide information about the physical location of the solar electric system. Fill in the address where the system will be installed. If the system will be installed at the host customer's address, you can select Host Customer from the Set Same As menu to fill in the host customer's address and link it to the system installation address. After filling in the address, select the building type for the project. For new construction or major renovation, you must also enter the estimated building area. Enter the meter number of the electric meter that the solar electric system will be connected to. You can find this number on the customer's electric bill. If your project connects to multiple meters, you must submit a separate application for each meter. If the system is to be leased, select the lease duration. Note that lease systems will receive the commercial incentive rate. Complete the project site step by selecting the electric rate, providing information about outside funding and previous incentives, and selecting the Residential Affordable Housing checkbox for applicable projects. Click the Next button to save your changes and proceed to the Project Components page. You'll use the Project Components page to provide details about the specific equipment to be installed and its cost to the customer. A design factor will then be calculated automatically, and you'll be able to select from a list of available incentives to apply for. Begin by selecting the inverter manufacturer from the drop-down list. A list of inverter models for the selected manufacturer will then appear. When you select the model that you plan to install, the CEC inverter efficiency rating will be displayed, and you'll be able to specify the number of inverters for this array. Click the Save button to save the inverter information that you entered. Next, click the Add PV Modules link at the top of the components list. Select the manufacturer and model of the PV modules that you'll be installing, and enter the quantity of those modules to be installed. Use the drop-down menus to select Array Tracking, Azimuth, Tilt, and Mounting Method. Make sure that the correct assigned inverter is selected. If the system does not meet the minimal shading guidelines, uncheck the minimal shading checkbox and enter the shading derate factors for each month of the year. Click the Save button to save the PV module information. Next, enter the cost information for PV modules, inverters, permitting fees, and balance of system. Project costs are automatically saved when you click outside the text box or press the Tab key. Note that the design factor has already been calculated and saved for your system based on the modules, inverter, and shading information you entered previously. Select an incentive from the drop-down menu to complete the information on the Project Components page. If the calculated incentive amount is 0, clicking the Show Details link can often indicate the reason. Click the Next button to save your changes and proceed to the Application Review page. At this point, you're almost done with the reservation request. Click the Print button on the Application Review page to print a hard copy of the reservation request form and have it signed by the appropriate parties. If you plan to submit documents electronically, you can scan the signed reservation request form for upload on the Paperwork Record page. After printing the form, click the Next button to proceed to the Paperwork Record page. The Paperwork Record page provides a checklist for applicants to help ensure that their reservation request includes all required forms and supporting documentation. If you plan to physically mail your documents, simply check the box next to each document required for your application, indicating that you will send them via postal mail. If you're submitting documents electronically, click the Add Attachment link at the right of each required document, then click the Browse button to locate the file on your computer for that document. Finally, click the Attach button to upload the document. All electronic documents must be in PDF format and must be under 5 megabytes in size. All of your documents must be submitted either electronically or all of them physically mailed. You may not submit some documents electronically and some by mail. The exception is that when submitting electronically, there are certain documents that may be required which cannot be submitted electronically. These are noted as such in the list and may be mailed even with an all-electronic document submission. Please review the Solar Incentive Program guidelines located on the website at www.ladwp.com/solar to ensure you're submitting all the necessary documents with your application. After you've finished uploading the required project documentation or indicated that you will send it via mail, you can click the Next button to proceed to the Submit Application page. The Submit Application page is the final step before submitting your reservation request. If your application is incomplete, the Submit Incentive Application button will be disabled, and this page will display a list of the information that must be completed before submittal. If all steps are complete, you may click the Submit Incentive Application button to submit your reservation request. Once an application has been submitted, it can no longer be deleted by the applicant. However, an applicant can withdraw an application by contacting LADWP. Upon successful submission, your application will be assigned a unique number that can be used to identify your application in the application list. Click the Continue button to return to the application list. You should now see your application in the application list, and you can click the View link to view or print the application at any time. When you first submit an application, its status will be Online Reservation Request Submitted. As LADWP program administrators process your application, you'll see changes to the status and the status notes. When the status has been changed to Confirmed Reservation, the incentive claim form will be available to the applicant through the Edit link in the Incentive Application list. Part 3 of this series describes the incentive payment claim process. This concludes Part 2 of the LADWP Solar Incentive Program Applicant Tutorial. In this screencast, we've shown you how to request an incentive reservation for your project and check the status of your application. In Part 3, we'll show you how to request the incentive payment.